Alright guys, in this video we are going to check out some updates regarding Cities Skylines 2, which apparently has a new patch with also some additional features. So this is a video from Jumbo Pixel, who is going to make a summary of what's going on with Cities Skylines 2. Let's go.
Believe it or not, Cities Skylines 2 is almost 1 year old.
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
With today's patch update and accompanying developer diary, it marks the latest patch after 2 months without. Colossal Order are now back from their what I'm sure was a much needed summer break with
To say that the release of Cities Skylines 2 was smooth is quite an understatement. It was actually very rough, and let's just say that Colossal Orders has been working super hard to improve the game experience, which in my opinion I regularly play from time to time, and I gotta say that playing Cities Skylines 2 now is already much better than a year ago. The game is definitely in a much better state than it used to be, and that is thanks to the work that was done by Colossal Order with regular updates, with lots of new free content, by the way, and it seems that this new patch also has free content.
the new game update. And in this video, we're going to cover it all off. The big changes, the
Oh.
big fixes.
Oh! Well, look at that! We can even have decorations for gardens. Okay, that's cool.
What was said, and also crucially, I believe, what wasn't.
Oh.
So sit back and relax, and with time cards down below, let's jump into the video.
Yeah, let's go.
Kicking off the patch and accompanying developers' diary, they say, whoa, hold on a minute. This is actually not the Detailers patch number 2 that we promised you, because it's not going to be as big as the last one.
The last patch was so big. There were so many new little improvements, cosmetic improvements for the cities that we could have, little details that we put every now and then. It's fantastic. If you want to have realistic looking cities now, this is it. And they're going to make another patch like that with even more details.
Their argument behind this is that they wanted to get out the quote-unquote homeless fix as soon as possible, and the decoration stuff was already good to go. So they bundled them together and pushed it out as the latest patch update for Cities Skylines.
What is that? The homeless patch? What is that?
2.
People are
So
homeless
how
in
does
game?
all of this stuff work? How does it affect the game? Well, crucially, there is a new landscaping menu to go alongside those sweet changes. Not only can you make the ground look like concrete, but now you can place
Oh, we can make the... Okay, that's nice. That's nice, especially in big urban areas. Okay.
down some props, from stones in nature through to benches and fountains and
even little
crates and all
swimming pools.
sorts. There are 8 new categories inside of the new landscaping menu. Colossal Order go on to talk a little bit about why they included some things and excluded others here, and long story short, situational props, as I would call them, have been left out. So chimneys that obviously require a building underneath them, likewise air conditioning
right.
units, those ones we won't be able to place.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? Because let's say the building is gone. What happens to the chimney, right? Is it going to stay and float in the air?
However, they make note that there's roughly 298 to be precise, new decorations that we
Gee.
can now place
300!
alongside some of the other landscaping and customization changes that they've made to Cities 2. And I think on balance, this part is a good improvement, though I will have a little bit more to say about improvements and perhaps some weaker spots slightly later in the video. I'd
Okay.
also like to bring your attention to this red car. We'll return to its journey of absolute madness to 10 Wood Street a couple of times throughout the video.
Well, what's up with the car? Is that a new car that they have? Yeah, that's true. I've never seen this car in a game.
In the background there. Anywho, let's move on to the next part of the conversation. A little bit more about decoration.
The traffic, by the way, the traffic is much better than in the first game. If you're looking for, a road management game where you manage your traffic and you see if what the changes you are doing are working or not, this is a fantastic experience.
Specifically, how do they work? Well, good news, this answer's pretty quick. They work basically just like placing down trees or buildings inside of the game. They have a little collision area around them. They can be placed
So you cannot put like a lot of swings next to each other, right? Gonna have to get a little space between them. Makes
on
sense.
surfaces, blah, blah, blah. The crucial thing here is that when you place them down, the props are free. No cost to place them, and obviously no further maintenance cost either. So
Obviously, yeah, these belong to the people, right? It's just for decoration. That makes sense. At the same time, I don't think that it would be costing that much, right? I mean, how much does a swing cost?
all of those fountains and benches go crazy because they are entirely free inside of this new Cities 2 economy. The economy patch and subsequent ones were largely responsible for the emergence of this massive homelessness problem. They initially told us it would go away. It's just a wave. It'll calm down. But
now that's funny because I haven't had that in my games. Nobody is homeless in my game. That's quite the opposite. I have too many houses.
maybe it didn't. I don't know. Either way, there is an update on it now. It is supposed to be fixed during this patch. Some of the specifics here are super interesting. How does homelessness work in Cities 2?
Yeah, right, exactly, because I don't have this problem.
Citizens lose their home either because they can't afford it or it was destroyed. They become homeless, of course. If they can afford to, they'll leave the city. If they can't, they'll sit in your parks or abandoned buildings. And
I don't have this issue. I've never seen that in the game. Really? That's crazy.
this, they say, is where the homeless tended to get stuck, unable to find new homes or leave the city. So, the decoration patch has a series of fixes to try and get around this, and they also provide a little tidbit, a little tip for us to try and fix it ourselves too. Delving into the specifics, the old version of the game had a random check to whether homeless households would look for a new, suitable home in the city or not. In the new version, homeless will always try to find a suitable home inside of the city. But that
nice, so they stay in the city, right? The population does not decrease.
Itself is not enough. It requires actual homes for them to move into, and that those homes aren't immediately filled by newly created households. To get a
Right, it makes sense. Super easy, right? You don't have enough houses, just build houses. This is like the dream. When you play this game, it's quite the opposite. Usually you have some issues because you're building too many houses. There's no more demand and you can't build anything else because nothing is getting built, and it's a huge problem for your economy.
Around this, homeless demand has been changed, or how homelessness affects demand has been changed in two ways. Firstly, it causes fewer new households to spawn. Makes sense. Free up the homes for the homeless. Also, though, it increases the demand for high-density residential buildings. So as people become homeless in this new version of Cities 2, for whatever reason, maybe because they're driving around endlessly making strange turns as you're about to see, they'll seek out high-density residential buildings instead.
Yeah, because these are usually the cheapest, right? So that's where poor people live in the city. So that's what they're seeking. It's the only thing that they can afford.
Interesting. Okay. Not the only change, though. Well, you see, depending on how many homeless households the city has, a bit of an oxymoron, but you get the idea, it may take a while before all of them get back on their feet, find their way into the city. What they're saying here is, the patch works, but it might take a little bit, so give the game a bit of time to run. You can, however, help the process along by fulfilling the demand for residential zoning.
Yeah, there you go, right? It's not rocket science. Just build more houses, exactly.
Build more homes, you moron, and then there'll be some. Or, alternatively, you can provide public transport out of the city, such as intercity buses or trains. Just connect one up to the very edge of the boundary.
All right, and then you take the homeless people out, right?
Send a train line out that way or what have you, and you can just ship the homeless out. So, multiple solutions. The patch itself should fix it, and of course you can take action yourself by building buildings or shipping them out. Let's turn now to the final part. This part, I believe, is woefully underwritten. There was so much more that could have and maybe should have been said. It's about next steps. The end of this development diary basically ends with a very short paragraph. They say, "We hope this has given you some idea for what to expect for the next patch, and we will of course release the patch notes along with it when it goes live." By the way, if you're watching this video, the patch is probably live, unless
Nice.
you're watching in about the first maybe 10 to 12 hours. They didn't include anywhere in this section or anywhere in the written update when the patch would be released. However,
Now let's see if it has been released. Let me check on Steam very quickly here. And let's check out City Skylines. Oh yeah, the patch has been released. Yeah, oh my god, 29 megabytes. That is a big patch, my gosh.
if like me you follow them on Twitter X, you will know that the update is scheduled for release a day after the developer diary came out. So long story short, the patch is probably out already, if not very soon. They go on to say, we're excited to see what you create using the decorations. Don't hesitate to post screenshots on social media if you do so.
All right, I'll
showing
try.
off your creations, and that is it.
Oh, that's a nice beach.
And that's it for
here.
today's developer diary. However, as I alluded to already, I believe there's a lot more that maybe could have or should have been said. You see, this update follows on from a couple of, credit where credit is due, very good updates for Cities 2.
That's true. That's true. As I said at the beginning of this video here, the game is in a much better state. If you abandoned the game a while back because you thought it sucked, it's completely different now.
It's also nearly City Skyline 2's 1-year anniversary. It came out in October of 2023, and at the time of recording this video, it is September 2024. And if this version of the game had released way back then, almost a year ago, honestly, it would be alright. You'd have to, of course, clarify that modding is very much in beta. There's still more to be done.
Yeah, modding is still not at the right place, especially when it comes to custom maps. If you're trying to make your own map, especially with the way water works, oh, good luck. I tried to make my own map. It just was a complete disaster. I abandoned eventually. I'm going back to my old city.
Access label, maybe, but regardless of that, the version that we have right now is pretty good. And with this patch update, fixing the homelessness problem that they introduced and was sort of always there in the background, maybe this is the best version of Cities yet.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for mods to come online though, and speaking of still waiting,
I don't know about mods. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section what you think of mods. As far as I'm concerned, I always play the game vanilla, so I don't really care so much for mods. The only mods that I like are maybe some new cars and maybe eventually also some maps, but that's basically it. Also, if you only play mods, usually you don't have the achievements too. I just like the achievements, right?
there was a little bit of a Q&A almost on Twitter. I thought you might find these interesting. What about the console version?
Oh no, who plays these games on consoles? Seriously, Samuel, you suck.
To work on it, each patch helps us improve, aka no date to announce. Anything on performance? We strive to do that in every patch. And finally, what about traffic? They're aware of a bug, not a priority for this patch. Not a priority, just like
I've never seen traffic being like that. Traffic in my city is okay.
the driver of this car, whose priority was nobody else's efficiency, including the cop behind him. He just really wanted to make some random turn. I don't know. Clearly,
that is the one exception. That's rare.
Its 1-year anniversary. Another good patch, likely under the hood, but in my opinion, still plenty of work left to be done. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you next.
All right, great video, Jumbo Pixel. I'll put the link in the description down below. I'm going to subscribe as well. Awesome. If you guys like this kind of content, you want to see more City Skylines content also, please let me know in the comment section down below. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I've been Iran, and I'll see you guys in the next one.